Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Kaisa or Nanate, which is the Indonesian feministic. On this channel, I do book reviews and other things related to literature and music. Today, we have a very special guest. This is my best friend, Raisel, and we're gonna do a review of Babel by R.F. Kuang. So, Babel is a historical fantasy novel, and it's set in Oxford in the 1830s. Okay, so let's start the review. To start the review, what do you find interesting about Babel?
This book is a book that speaks of multiple issues, and yeah, the entire book is basically just Kuang trying to prove a point. And what I like about this book is that I think every detail is put with care, and
Mhm.
a lot of like the details are things that are also to add further nuance to the point she's trying to make. Like the four main characters here, there are four main characters. Can I do spoilers or is this like a spoiler-free review?
No, it's fine. I think this review is
Okay,
quite, a spoiler. So
I see. Okay, then. So we have four main characters, right? One is like a Chinese, mixed Chinese white man. One is an Indian Muslim. One is a black woman, and one is a white woman. And I think the
yeah,
decisions in these characters' backgrounds add, yeah, like I said, add further nuance to the
yeah,
point that Huang tries to make on racism. Like instead of just talking about
hmm
racism, she also adds this sort of conversation on how racism affects different type of people. And
yeah.
yeah, I think that that's one detail about the book that I've always really liked ever since I first read it.
hmm I say that Kuang puts a lot of effort into, building the characters and making them very accurate, as we can see it with Remy, our favorite character, obviously.
Yeah, oh my God. I
She
am
she
I
even
have never
knows
felt
like
so
the current
I have
verses, right?
I've never felt so represented by a Muslim character before.
Yeah,
And
so
the writer,
brilliant.
yeah, he's just relatable, like how
Yeah,
he's
no.
like, I shouldn't have gone home after Maghrib and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I just laugh reading
Yeah.
it because, yeah, exactly. And yeah,
Yeah.
I really like that.
Um, I think that's because Kuang actually has friends from, diverse communities. And if you read at the end of the book, there's like a page that explains this book was consulted to those people. So that's why I guess it's very accurate and relatable. hmm
Hmm.
And like as you said before, it's very eloquent in delivering important messages, such as,
Yes, and there's a
racism.
lot of important messages.
Yeah,
Like the
and that's
entire
one
book
thing.
is important messages,
Yeah.
actually.
I love
And I
the
don't know, maybe
themes. Yeah, right? The
yeah, I
themes
love
that it conveys, like colonialism, the complexity of identity, and many other things. Also, it's very interesting because it's set in Oxford in the 1830s, and like the characters basically are Oxford students and professors, but they're not like all white, although it's like a very um white dominated institution, which I
yeah,
think
and
makes it a very
yeah,
interesting
that aspect
novel.
also adds more to again the racism point, like
Yeah,
being the opinionated demographic in a place where it's dominated by, white people.
and
And
and the characters don't even ask for it. Like they didn't even ask to be given the privilege
yes,
to study
they
there.
didn't ask to be given the privilege, and they're sort of gaslighted into thinking that it's a privilege and you should be grateful. But then
Yeah,
at the
when
same
it's actually exploitation, it's sort of like
yeah, it's
an elite
exploitation.
way of exploiting people.
It's exploitation, and another reason that it's considered a privilege to begin with is because their people are being colonized and they're being
Yeah.
treated really badly. So like, yeah,
hmm
it's like I can't make up an analogy right now, but it's like you're harming a group of people and you take one person and just treat them well, and you're like, you're lucky that you're not like the rest of them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And
this I think this is a very important premise in the book that fuels the conflicts between the characters, as we can see
yes.
with what happens to Letty later on, and Remy obviously, because
Oh my God.
uh
Okay. Really, I really love the addition of this character. I really hate Letty, okay? I
I
despise Letty.
mean I
I'm
don't
not
judge
really.
her. I can't really judge her, you see, because Letty
Yeah,
is
I
like a
mean,
complex character.
she's
I
a realistic
understand why she's like that. She
she's a
she's,
realistic white
she
woman,
sees
yes.
like she feels that studying at Oxford is a privilege for her because she's like a girl, a middle
Yeah,
class
her
girl,
background.
and um at the time only boys could get to that university, and like she
But
she
that's
feels
yeah.
that her friends are not grateful. So yeah, that's why.
But yeah, in the same light, one thing that I really like about the addition of Letty's character is the fact that she was made a white woman. So Kuang adds like, feminism to her book, and
Yeah,
she discusses feminism, but again, in a not so surface level way. And she
yeah.
addresses white feminism, which is with Letty's character. And we also have another
Mm-hmm.
woman, right? A woman of color. So she draws the contrast between them,
Mm-hmm.
like the white feminism and intersectional feminism, and how
Yeah,
intersectional misogyny affects women of color. And I
I
think that's
see.
great. I really think that's great.
I
Yeah.
love that as well. And I remember when we were discussing it, you said to me that women of color are alienated everywhere because, white women are racist, white feminists specifically are
Yeah.
racist, and men who fight for racial equality are sexist. So, like, they're in a juxtaposition, right?
And the intersectional problems that most women of color face is not really like separated like types of problems. Like on one hand, there's racism, and on one hand,
Yeah,
there's but there's like a sort of like intertwinement between
yeah.
those
They're
two
like um,
identities.
double victims of I don't know, the issues that intertwine with each other, right?
Yeah, I really love Victoria, by the way. She's a
Yeah,
really strong woman.
she's a brilliant writer.
She's brilliant. She's
Kuang.
great.
Mhm.
She's really kind. Yeah. Yeah, if you read Babel, yeah,
It's
you would.
I actually it's the best book I've read this year. I'm very certain about that. It's the best book that I've read this year.
It was also the best book I read during that time, and till now I think it's definitely up there in like one of the best
Yeah,
books I've read.
I mean
Because it has
it's
I think
got
it's
like
really good.
541 pages and it's slow paced, but it's
Yes.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's slow paced, but I still devoured it quite quickly. Like
Yeah,
uh,
same. I mean, I had to
like
slow down when I was reading it because I didn't want it to end so quickly.
same. Like, yeah, I really like this book, but I don't want to end.
I
But I
know.
don't want to really quickly. Especially it was during term break, right? So I basically had so much free
Yeah,
time, and I just devoted myself to this book.
I read it over the summer as well, so
Uh,
I had lots of time to read it.
yes, and there are so many, I'd say, impactful one-liners in this book. Like, the final Robin scene, the last
Oh
sentence.
yes.
That was it's a very short, like,
It
line.
actually
Okay,
it's sort of like um
it's so impactful and so, oh, yeah.
no, it's actually I feel like reminiscence about the it's a reminiscence of the first page somehow when
It is, it is, it is. That, and also, if you think about it, like his name, just how much significance it holds, is like, oh my
yeah.
God, this is
Actually,
really.
Kuang never explicitly said what his Chinese name was, which
Yes, and I think that
so
makes it
it's like
even
a
better.
mystery.
it's a mystery, and
Yeah.
that uncertainty aspect makes it even better because like his name is a
Mm-hmm.
sort of uh symbolism of his identity as a
Yeah,
Cantonese
that's
person.
what I was gonna say.
It's just robbed from him.
It's like how
It
it's
is
he
really
got
robbed
his
from.
identity stolen, and by not
Yes,
revealing his actual Chinese name, it's like, it's just
yeah,
telling the readers that yes,
uh,
he got his identity stolen.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's okay. That is brilliant. So
This is fun.
I'm going through
Um,
the book right now.
okay, cool. Did you highlight anything? I'm sure you did. You
Mhm.
highlight so many passages.
I did. I don't know. I was like a bit of a chaotic annotator back then. I highlighted just anything that was like, oh wow, cool.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So yeah, back at the characters part, aside from them, I'd say being real representation of like people, they actually feel human.
Mm,
The I mentioned about the backgrounds, their backgrounds being really necessary in sort of adding more to Kuang's point and her point about racism mainly is that okay, first of all, we have Robin who is mixed. And with Robin, we see how racism affects mixed people.
yeah,
We have this sort of, like sense of alienation that he doesn't feel like he belongs anywhere because like to white people,
yeah.
he's too Chinese. To Chinese people,
Uh,
he's too white. And then yeah, a lot of that. And with Rami, I think him being a Muslim, when during that time, the general stereotype was that Indians were all, Hindus, right? And him
yeah,
being a
I mean, that's
yeah,
crucial. Yeah.
yeah, that is crucial. Instead of him just being like the majority, which was, seen during that time, that also adds more in, like the stereotyping aspect. And Victoire, who experiences intersectional problems due to her identity as both a woman and a, person of color. And Letty being a white woman, I
Mhm.
discussed about that earlier. I think, yeah, just
And
these four
sorry to
characters.
interrupt you, but do you think that this is even more apparent with Griffin? Because, he's
Yes,
like,
definitely. He also got robbed of his identity, but the difference between him it was that he was so much younger, so
well, yeah.
he didn't have any he didn't have much memories and not much memories to cling
He's
on
like,
to.
I feel like he's detached to his Chinese
He is
identity,
completely detached to
like
his Chinese identity.
completely.
Yes, completely. And he doesn't want that to be the case for him.
Hmm.
And it's even sadder because his worth is valued based on his fluency in speaking the Chinese language. But because he was
Yeah,
so young, he didn't have enough emotional connection and like memory to the language. And he was just deemed as worthless. And it's so
yeah,
sad.
I know. Griffin is, I think, one of the most memorable characters in that novel. Yeah.
One of the most depressed as well. Obviously, everyone's depressed actually, but yeah. Okay, so you prepared several like topics you wanted to discuss, right? Like,
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about the footnotes and how they are really interesting.
yeah, they are really interesting. Which
Hmm.
they might not be for everyone, actually. I've seen people say that they don't like the footnotes, but I really love the footnotes
I love
because
the footnotes.
it feels like really accessible, fun facts and
Yeah,
references you can
but
just
but it's also like one of the ways that Wang tries to strengthen her world building, in my opinion, because many of the
yeah,
footnotes
and
are fictional.
really good. Like she pays so much attention to detail in
Yeah, I
every
know.
aspect.
Hmm. And you also mentioned that she really excels at conveying serious topics in a fun
Mm,
way. And I think That's one of the
Yeah,
greatest trends of fiction, because we
the
wouldn't
book, yeah,
get the same impression if we were to read it from a non-fiction book.
yeah, the book is so much, like history and so much
Yeah,
serious topics, but it
I
was
know.
packaged in a way that made me read it really quickly.
Jeremiah's
So,
chapter.
Remy's chapter, I love that chapter.
Oh,
No, I got just as a Muslim, even though I'm not the most like pious Muslim or anything, but that chapter just made me happy.
yeah. It feels very good to be represented.
Yes. Okay, where is Remy's chapter? I don't remember where it is. Let me go to. Oh yeah, I'm at Letty's chapter right now.
Uh-huh. I don't hate Letty actually.
But no, but the thing about Letty is, she's really like, yeah, I'm a feminist, but she
Yeah, no,
doesn't.
she's racist, but like Lovell
No,
is way more racist than her. And
she's sometimes it feels like she's only like people hate women when they're mean to her. Tapi Victor, she doesn't even know anything that's happening to her, like her not being allowed to the bathroom and all of that. She doesn't know, which like
well, yeah,
feels like she just feels like I'm being really discriminated as a woman because yeah, she only feels that way when she's the one being, like the
yeah. I see that, yeah.
yes.
When she actually does that to other people, including Victoria.
I can't find Rami's chapter. I forgot
No,
where
that's
it is.
fine. I'll find
Hold
it
on.
then.
Wait, Rami's which one came first, Rami or Letty's? Oh, Rami's.
I think it's Ramis.
Did it in the oh yeah, it's here. Uh
It's an interlude, so it's that one.
mhm.
I found that. Ramis
Oh my God.
Rapimusa had always been a clever boy.
Yes.
Love that.
No, reading this chapter made me sad, bro. Like happy but sad.
Yeah. No, she's my he is. He's my favorite character and one of the most uh remarkable characters that
Hmm.
I've read.
Oh yeah, I underlined this quote. Hide Remy's. Show the world what they want. Contort yourself into the image they want to see. Because seizing control of the story is how you, in turn, control them. Hide your faith, hide your prayers. For Allah will still know your heart. I underline that. That's
No,
the thing
that that
that
is
his
so hurtful, that is so
that is
hurtful.
so
And
hurtful.
you know what? Like Remy feels like uh Remy is like a reminder of how I should be really grateful for being a Muslim who lives in the
Yeah,
UK because like I would not be able to imagine if I were to
during
live
that
like that. I couldn't.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
unimaginable. It's like terrible. I mean, we've got halal food now in the UK, and like they have halal groceries, halal butchers, but like and we celebrate religious festivals. So like people let you pray. I have a prayer room at my school, like, and there are Muslims as well in my school. So like I I don't know what would happen if I were to live like them.
Oh no, I just reached the Rami was dead part.
I know. No, that was that was like a really strange thing for me. I don't know because you told me before I read it, or like, but it felt like it's not the kind of sad scene that I would instantly cry for. It made me empty. I felt
Yeah,
empty. Like that was
yeah.
a pang in my heart when I read it. And like I had to stay away from the book for a while before I could continue
Yeah.
reading it again.
The ones that really broke me were like the last pages. Ito kaya,
I
oh,
know that crazy. Oh yeah, you said something about how the characters were designed, and I feel like she even paid attention to the less important characters. Like Yosef and Ibrahim, if you remember from
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
end
I
of the
remember.
book, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Like, it just feels like everything was, written with care, and she was definitely really passionate.
yeah, of course.
Like,
I
yeah,
mean,
the
it makes
footnote.
sense. I mean, Kuang went to both Oxford and Cambridge, and she's doing her PhD at Yale. And this is a brilliant book written by a brilliant author, obviously.
Mhm. Oh yeah, this is also like a sort of it. It falls into the category of dark academia books, right? But it's
Mhm.
one that reveals more of the darkness of
Academia.
like yeah,
Yeah.
academia, the romanticization,
Mhm.
like like the aspect of like the privilege and I guess the student burnout and the
Yeah,
racism and stuff. So yeah.
exactly. I noticed that there are more advanced words in this book than I would normally find in other books. And do you think that this book was aimed at specific people, like because I've learned so many new words from it.
I don't know
Is
actually.
it because it's talking about Oxford as like a posh institution, or like I don't know, it's just her writing style? Because I haven't
I
read her
heard her
other
other
books, so
book.
I can't really compare.
hmm I heard the Poppy War trilogy was really good, but I haven't gotten into that yet.
Yeah, but I will because I
Oh my
know
God,
they're great.
there is so many language, like history of language here.
Yeah,
It's so interesting.
I love that part as well, where there's this scene when they're in a class and discuss they're discussing the theories of language and
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
theories of
yeah.
translation.
Polyglot,
I really love the one.
stuff like that. Don't you have your? Oh, you're using Kindle. Eh?
Yeah. Mhm. Oh, actually, I'm curious about your experience of reading it. Um, of the like you read it in the physical copy, while I read it on Kindle. So like, I feel like it feels shorter than the I don't know actual physical book, because
It's
on
short to
Kindle
me.
you can't really guess where you're at except you look at the table of contents.
It's
But that's a
so
good thing, because it's a thick book, and when it's on Kindle, you don't really notice that it's a thick book. I feel like I don't know. That's what I feel.
Do you want to talk about the aspect of the necessity of violence? What do you think
Oh,
about
yeah,
that?
yeah. I was
So
going
that's
to say
literally
that
the
actually.
tagline of the
Yeah,
book.
there is actually a quote that I underlined from the title. Not that title. It's like the end of the book, where when Professor Chakravarti taught Robin that violence is like the last choice in Sanskrit philosophy. He
Yeah.
said something like that. I'm
Yes.
trying to find it.
Okay, but the violence, like Robin just threatening everyone, that was really satisfying, honestly.
Good. But I found it. So one of the professors said that the most commonly misunderstood Sanskrit concept is ahimsa, non-violence. People think that it means absolute pacifism, but
Mhm.
sometimes there is an exception, and that is the Dharma Yuddha, which is a righteous war. And I think that just summarizes the whole idea of the necessity of violence, when
Yeah.
you know there are circumstances where violence is allowed, and
Because
it's not
violence
for
is the
it's not for selfish gain or personal motives, but like a commitment to the greater good, to a greater
Mhm.
cause.
Because if we take a look, there are other attempts that didn't involve violence. Violence is sometimes the only thing that will bring you anything when speaking cannot, because their voices are never heard. That's
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
uh,
That's happened lots of times in history, actually. In sociology, I learned about the suffragettes and the suffragists, and um, this is like the before the first wave of feminism in the West. So
mhm.
the women were breaking windows. They were like throwing stones at windows at people, and they even not bombarded. I wouldn't say that. They put a bomb in like a in an MP's house or something like that. And that was just to allow women to vote. And I mean, like, this is a very brilliant concept conveyed by the book. But it's also interesting that actually when Professor Chakravarti was explaining the concept of ahimsa to Robin was sort of like trying to justify his selfish motivation uh
Yeah,
by
which was to
saying that yeah.
die. Oh no. Hmm. Or the last pages were just really heart-wrenching, honestly. I think I
I
cried.
know.
Not even fully because of the main characters that were left, which were Robin and Victoria, but the side characters who were like
Yeah,
they
I know. And
stuck
even
up
Kuang
their
just
big
introduced them right there at that spot, you
yeah,
know.
they were just introduced, and there they were like relatively like young
Oh my
students,
God, I
and
dropped my Kindle.
yes, they were like the younger students, and they weren't really they were just introduced, but then hearing them talk about I don't want to die, it just
Yeah,
is
it's like
so no.
oh, oh no. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Dude, yeah. I was like just flipping through the pages, and I reached the one page, that one flashback
Mm-hmm.
in Robin's last seconds.
Oh, I have to say this. Um, if you're watching this and you're gonna read Babel, make sure that you play The Night We Met by Lord Huron.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
At the end of the
Specifically
book,
on
on
page
page
534, 534, 535, 536. The night we met, you should play that. It will give a 10 times damage impact.
no, not 10 times. It's like a quadrillion times.
Yeah, a quadrillion times actually. And oh no. Like,
No,
I'm
it
not
made
even
me
listening.
cry like a Batman.
Actually, my books were like wet with my tears. Like, I was reading, and when I reached that, and I just cried. Also, like going through the book for a second time, there were so many pages that made me mad. Like the
Which
injustices.
uh,
Stuff to do with Lovell. Like
Lovell,
the
yeah.
first time you
Lovell
read
is
it,
a jerk.
Lovell is a jerk. And the first time you read it, we didn't know Lovell first can. We just saw him as this Englishman, but we didn't
Yeah.
really know who
We
he
didn't
was.
know that he was an Oxford professor and actually the father of
He is
Robin
actually the
and
father.
Griffin.
And then when you go back to the earlier pages and you already know that he's his father, why? This is your
Why?
child.
Why?
This
This
is
is
your child.
it's your son. And
It's your
I
son.
remember when Robin first confronted him about his mother and like
Yes. And then
he
and
was
he
he's
was
so
just like
indifferent.
he's just some stupid insert slur. And that just made me so mad. Just
She's
this
just a
kid.
woman.
She's a woman, and it just
Well, I'm
she
sorry about your mother.
he didn't even refer to her as a woman. He used a slur. You had a kid
Yeah,
with that woman. and the kid is right in front of you, and it is just,
It's
oh my
so
God,
problematic.
it's so problematic.
I
Yeah,
know.
I just reading through the pages, and every time he appears, yeah, you know how I feel.
I hate love.
I
I
hate Lovell.
despise him.
I
I
despise
despise
Lovell.
him.
And also how this book,
I mean, he's probably the sort of person who deserves to be dumped into the ocean.
yeah, I mean that did that was what happened to him. So yeah, thankfully he got what he deserved. He did get dumped
Yeah.
to the ocean. Yeah, and also another aspect about this book is how it paints both the beauty and the ugliness of London. You know
As
what I
someone
mean?
who has been to London,
Yes. Ah,
that is
I think you
accurate.
are really, I think for you personally, it's heavy on the having terrible food aspect, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Especially as a Muslim, it's finding halal food that has spice in it. Oh my God.
Oh no. Oh no, you remind me that school will start in like a week.
Yeah, good luck with
And
that.
I'm going to have to eat those unspiced food again.
Do you want to talk about the colonialism stuff or anything? Because that's pretty much what the entire book is about.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mm.
Um, I think the fact that these characters study in a country that colonizes their
People,
countries, their countries, I mean, specifically,
yeah,
it's like it makes their identities very complex. And I noticed that just like what happened with Indonesia, these people who were educated in the Netherlands actually became
the pelopor,
the
the
pioneers, right? To
of okay, you this is kind
to
of
bring
funny.
the
Yeah,
nation forward.
this is
But no,
actually a
we
this is
what?
actually a joke that my Dutch friend likes to make. Like, dang, if it weren't for us, y'all would not be educated. And like,
Ah, okay, yeah, I get that. It's an irony, really, and I mean, we can still see some of those post-colonial symptoms today. Like, you know that the inequalities are sort of
yeah,
like similar, and I know that people from developing countries still study in developed countries, right? And use that knowledge to build their own country.
mhm,
And although there has been a shift in the global power today, I mean, China is becoming a major global power, but still, I think the post-colonial issues are still
mhm.
true for most countries and even the least developed ones. That's a bit of geography lesson here because I can't get rid of geography. I feel like, as a geography student, seeing this book, it's like,
Uh-huh.
it just reminds me of the concept I learned. What did I say?
Oh yeah, all of the white people in this book are self-centered, I guess. That's one
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Mhm. Oh yeah.
And the
Okay,
ethnic society.
yeah. You
I think
remember how like, one of the tactics, yeah, before they started using violence, it's so noisy outside. Yeah. Tried to have like an approach towards the public, which was all white people.
it's.
Their approach did not talk about racism at all
Yeah.
because, which I highlighted, their own interest is the only logic they listen to, not justice, not human
Oh,
dignity.
yeah.
liberal freedoms they
Yeah.
profess to value but profit. So like yeah,
Which
they're
one
all
was that? Was it when Robin talked to the official in Canton?
yeah. What was this?
Oh, which one was
No, not that one. I think it's this one's actually an Hermes Society discussion.
that?
Young,
Oh,
young. They sort of like I guess they spreaded pamphlets trying
oh,
to
okay, yeah.
warn people about. I
The
forgot what.
the parliament or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
Oh
like
yeah,
they're
they.
trying to sort of like the main thing that they want to do is bring justice towards people of color, right? But
Mhm.
they can't really talk about the justice of people of color because no one would care.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
in the end, the only thing that worked was violence. So
The necessity of violence.
the necessity of violence.
Oh yeah. I went to South Park in Oxford just because of this book.
You what?
I went to South Park, right? Do you remember that Robin and Remy went there and they had a picnic in autumn, and I went there in autumn as well. And I went there just because I read this book. That's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
Yeah.
Oh no, I hate Lovell so much. Now I just start like going through pages where Lovell is being an insert bad word. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse here, but
Yeah, he is. Well, and I think we have to talk some. We have to talk about Victoria as a very interesting character. She's basically the most empathetic character out of the
she's the
whole
sanest
main
one as
characters.
well.
Yeah,
She's she's the
she's the
sanest
only one
one.
who understands Letty, and she doesn't hate her at all. I mean,
I still
she's
hate her. I mean, I still hate
she's
Letty,
depressed,
but
but like
uh
Victoria understands that.
she
Yeah,
yeah she
Letty
understands
was just lonely and she needed friends, and from her perspective, it was like um everyone was betrayed, and that's why it's a very complicated friendship, and that's
yeah.
what's good about the
And
book.
I don't know. I think like by reading their backstories, Victoria one was probably the most apa ya, violent one. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I
and
agree.
she still keeps on going. Like
I
in the
know
end, she's
that's why the first line of the chapter is Victor there's Krav has always been good
yes.
at survival.
Yeah, and she always survives, and she always tries to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
she's where slavery was not yet abolished.
she went to the US.
I wonder how she was after that, honestly.
Yeah. We need we need a sequel or like a prequel.
I kind of want to know more about Griffin, to be honest. Like
Yeah. He's
the
mysterious. I
the
mean,
older.
he appears to be a very um unruly person. Like he's just so impulsive and all that
Yeah,
stuff,
he is.
right? But I'm sure that he has a background for that.
Hmm.
Hmm. What's your favorite quote from the book, by the way? Mine's, I think, is this one. Like, it's on page. I don't know. Let me check. It's
What's
on
my favorite?
page 535. Yeah, it's 535. When
Wait,
she
let me see.
says, how could there ever be an Adamic language?"
Academic
And how,
language.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and like
yeah. Okay,
language language was just different, a thousand different ways of seeing the world, of
I mean,
seeing, of moving through the world.
the entirety of page 1535 is just beautiful
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I know. And the scenes up to that.
Yes. And also, you know, the conversation between Robin and Victor, like their last, not their last conversation, but when they were just crying together, that
Yeah, I
was,
know. That's
oh, like the be brave, be selfish, that, oh my God. Like, hold on. The, I underlined it, I think. Be selfish, she whispered, be brave. Yeah, that one was just impactful.
yeah, right. What's your favorite quote of Remy?
Rami's just a living mood, honestly, in my opinion. So, like, he's just a mood, man. Like,
No, that's one good one. That's just what translation is, I think. That's all speaking is listening to the other and trying to see past your own biases to glimpse what they're trying to say, showing yourself to the world and hoping someone else understands. That's my favorite one. His wife and the iconic one, of course. Like, should have not been here after Maghrib. Should have listened to my mother.
yeah, a lot of yeah, Rami's funny in my opinion. I don't know. He's the
Yeah,
funniest. That might be biased. No, actually, he is the funniest in the group.
no. And we drew Remy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we haven't talked about the criticism. Do you have any? I don't know.
I mean, me personally, I liked everything about the book, but like,
Yeah.
I still see how some people wouldn't.
Hmm.
But in the end, it sort of just waters down to the preference in writing style. See, not because the writing style is bad, just some people don't really like reading, the bit. I think it's really
I
great.
mean, the writing style is quite advanced, though, I would
It is,
say.
yeah, it is quite
Just like I
advanced.
told you before, that she uses so many advanced words that would normally appear in, other books. But that's okay. I mean, it's a good way to learn English anyway.
It is a good way to learn English, exactly. Especially
Yeah.
since I think some people that read Babel were like ones that I guess normally read through internet recommendations, and probably they were
Hmm.
more used to contemporary books, so this was just a bit different than usual.
Yeah, this is different and very unique, actually, to be, it's a popular book, but it's very
It is
different.
criticism. Do I have any criticism?
I
I
think
mean,
for me, it would be the cover on Kindle, though. It's just ugly.
oh
Well, it's
yeah,
not, it's not the writer's fault, but like, it's just ugly. I
yeah.
hate it. I went to a bookstore and I saw
Oh,
the physical
I guess
copies of the book, and they
I
look
guess
good.
I guess one thing that I think would make the book a bit more impactful, it is already really impactful, but I think more of like the little dialogues and conversations of like the four, yang kaya them being happy and stuff during their happy days. I feel like there were some of those, but um a lot of them was more like, yeah, I feel like just those little shared moments, if it were added,
Hmm.
it would add more of like an impact when the friendship just started going south.
Yeah,
But I still think that the friendship was already well written, but
yeah. Okay,
I
I'm
think
just
that's
gonna
one thing.
show you how ugly the Kindle cover is. It's
I
so
think that one is
terrible.
very I
No,
think
like if you've seen the new edition, the cover looks
I have
so
not seen the
great.
new edition. Let me
The
Google it.
silver
Hold on.
one is so good. And the physical copy and everything. This is terrible.
The silver one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
the best one
we
is,
haven't even talked about silver, the use of silver in the
oh
novel yet.
yeah.
See
Dude, this
world.
one's so good. Are you talking about this one? Hold on.
No, not that one.
It's so
The fourth one.
good.
I haven't seen that one.
I think it's a sort of collector's edition. I don't know.
Mm. Oh, actually, did you realize that Kuang dedicated this book to her boyfriend slash fiance?
Aw, actually,
Yeah,
okay,
so that.
that is a really interesting book to dedicate to your fiance. Let me see. Oh, okay, this isn't criticism or anything. It's just that I decorated this book a bit and I added a paper. Oh no, a paper bird because birdie is a
Birdie.
reference.
Oh, oh, we haven't talked about Birdie.
Birdie, birdie.
Dedication to Bennett, who is all the light and laughter in the world. Oh,
That is
that's
so
cute.
cover. I like my covers. See, it's just that it's like a hardcover, but like the ones that the cover is
Oh,
just like paper,
is it a hardcover?
which is kind of frustrating sometimes. But I don't have like the hardcover, yang printed gitu. I think
Mm,
those are better. But yeah, I
okay,
like this one, and I mean the story's really good. So in
okay.
the end,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Have you actually done research on how accurate the book is? Because, I mean, just disclaimer that this book is fictional and I wouldn't use it to use it as a, an accurate representation of Oxford in the 1830s because it's fiction. I haven't
Actually,
done
not
any
really
research.
Google it,
Yeah,
but considering the amount of footnotes that she put, I think she did a lot of research. I mean, that's quite obvious.
yeah, of course. But it's like it's still fictional,
Mhm.
and it's accurate to some extent. So it's not a non-fiction.
Reading story is, I don't know, it looks kind of depressing, honestly. It's such a
Yeah,
beautiful place, but like the
yeah,
characters,
I know.
okay, it looks kind of.
I've been to Oxford twice, and it's lovely. It's just
It is
yeah, Babel feels like
really.
a very depressing version of Oxford. I mean, it was in the 1830s anyway, so things have changed.
Mm,
And I think it's also interesting how Babel explores Robin's childhood traumas, that he didn't actually have a caregiver apart from Mrs. Piper, and
yes.
his father didn't like
Mrs.
him.
Piper was sweet. I like Mrs. Piper.
Yeah,
She like that one sweet, like, yeah.
and I don't like his scone with sultanas too.
Yeah, I don't
I
really
don't
like
like his scone with
sultanas.
sultanas. I like scones.
Sultanas sultanas on like baked stuff usually I don't really like, so yeah. Oh my God. I don't know what else. Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't know. I'll just say read Babel, I guess. I recommend it very
Yeah,
much.
I recommend it as well. It's a great book, particularly for the young generation. Oh yeah, I was about to say that um, the Akhbar Society in Bible reminds me of the national movement in Indonesia, the
Mm,
Pergerakan Nasional in the 20th century, and there is a similar pattern there because these young people were educated in the Netherlands as well, and you know they propelled Indonesia forward and
mm.
brought it to its independence. So I feel like this book is very relatable to the young generation. Yeah. I feel like young people should just read it. If there is one coming of age book that I would recommend, it's this one.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. I don't know if this was like really heavily implied in the story, but you know how like one sort of impact of colonialism is the glorification of the colonizers themselves. Like we
Yeah,
just view them as better.
yeah.
I think yeah, it is also the
I think
case
I
in here.
touched about that briefly in one of the points that I told you about. Um, inequalities and how we still have post-colonial issues,
Yeah, we do.
right? Yeah.
And it kind of manifests its way into many aspects, just like colorism and all of that. It all is also an impact of colonialism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you notice that there was a foreshadowing towards the fall of the Tower of Babel, like really early in the book? Not really early, probably
I
midway in the book.
I I didn't actually.
Yeah, I think it was said by Professor. Who's the name of the professor? The guy professor besides Lovell, the Bapa one, Playfair. Yeah,
Playful. Oh,
I,
what was it when he taught Robin to translate the word translate?
yes, that one. And then
Yeah.
yeah, it was somewhere there.
And he actually no, I shouldn't say this.
Yes, yes. That was like when I first read it, I didn't like saw it as okay, this is a foreshadowing towards the end.
But no,
But then
I saw it. I actually saw it as a foreshadowing because I knew that someone would do it. I knew that
yeah,
someone would actually do
it
it.
is quite yeah. And
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, in conclusion, Babel is a brilliant coming of age
yeah,
novel, which
it is
we
a
really love and
huge
we would recommend to you all. And
yep.
it explores themes like identity, colonialism, racism, intersectional equality, and many other interesting stuff. So
Yeah.
that's all from us. Thank you for watching this video
Yeah.
and sorry for the interruption. Okay, see you. Goodbye.
Yeah, sorry. My laptop sucks, man. Okay, yeah, bye.
Bye.
I think I'm being called.
Oh,
Hold on.
all right. That's fine.
It is my
Okay. Is your connection okay? It seems like it's not. Jelly. Oh no.
Oh yeah, I just remembered Griffin murdered someone. He murdered the girl.
What girl?
The one, what's her name again? That one girl, young. Yeah,
It's
the one
okay.
girl.
Do you have like a headphone? Maybe you can wear it. Oh my God, no. What's happening?